Let's talk about the money. The least affordable places to live according to the research. The sports channel is coming, but I will not launch it until it's right because you never get a second chance to make the first impression. I'm going to be reading that. That super chat is wild, Kevin, but I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. And Shike Auto LLC in the building. Let me ask y'all a question. If y'all had to guess, I need participation from the chat. I need y'all to hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. The likes is not representing the amount of people that's in the live stream right now. If y'all had to guess, what do you think is the least affordable place to live? What city in the United States of America is the least affordable place to live in the United States of America? What do y'all think is the least affordable place to live? Shout out to my dog, Brian Horsley. I appreciate you over here on Cash App. And my dog, Ken, I appreciate you too. Mike, that dude, is in the building. What do y'all think is the least affordable place to live in the United States of America? Wealth Building Germany says NYC, San Francisco, Chi-Town, DC, Boston, Seattle, and LA. NYC, Seattle, New York, Rhode Island, Miami, Los Angeles, or NYC. Manhattan, LA, Wyoming, Los Angeles, LA. I see a lot of LAs in here. A lot of LAs, Miami, New York, San Francisco, Denver, DC, New York City, LA, Hawaii, NY, Seattle, LA, Mississippi, Alabama is next. San Diego, DC, Arkansas, Miami, San Jose, San Francisco, Providence, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Long Beach, NY, LA, Miami, Bay Area, Mississippi, Miami, don't think, he just know. Honolulu, Mississippi, nah, can't be Mississippi. San Fran, Mississippi, Hawaii, New York City, Fort Worth, Texas, really? Arkansas? Is Arkansas expensive? Maryland, Louisiana? No, not Louisiana. I've been there. Santa Monica, Bay Area, Jacksonville? Nope. Manhattan is not a city. Yeah, but it's a borough within New York. NY and Cali, New Mexico, Miami, Mississippi. All right, so let's get into the video then. Now that I got y'all attention, let's see, because it's a list here. According to the research, it's a list here.
If you thought rent prices are very high in South Florida, you were right. Miami, for example, is ranked the least affordable housing market in the U.S.
Miami. It's a whole list here. Miami is ranked the least affordable place to live from a housing perspective in the United States of America. Miami is considered the least affordable place to live in the United States of America. Let's continue.
That's tough to deal with. According to a recent report, 3 South Florida cities are among the worst places in the nation to rent housing.
That's right. They are Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Hialeah.
Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Hialeah. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Hialeah. I don't even know where Hialeah is. When you see these people going down to Miami and they keep talking about they gonna move down there, and I'll be like, yeah, okay. Good luck with that shit. Miami is, they say the 3 least affordable places to live is Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Hialeah. Fort Lauderdale was only like 35 minutes away from Miami. A lot of people fly into Fort Lauderdale and then they go straight down to Miami. It's cheaper that way.
CBS News Miami's Yvonne Taylor finds out what your options are if you can't afford these high prices.
182 cities were part of the study.
182 cities were a part of the study. Hialeah is the North Miami area. 182 cities, they say, was a part of the study.
Using several indicators, they came up with the fact that South Florida has 3 cities where income is not reasonable with rent.
So basically what this is saying It's not least affordable as it relates to how much it costs to live there. It's least affordable when you take into consideration income versus housing costs. So that's why we have to start to deep dive into the context. Income, basically how much the average person is making over in that area versus housing costs. Okay? So, for example, if you go into a borough, let's say Manhattan, right? The majority of the people that live in Manhattan generate a lot of income versus how much it costs to live there, right? A lot of people go down to Miami and they don't even realize that it's not a real industry for you to exist in and thrive in unless you bring in business and resources down there with you, because the amount of money that the average person makes down in South Florida versus how much it costs to live there is the caveat. So a lot of y'all think that y'all just gonna run down to Miami. The reality is that you don't even know what you're gonna do when you get down there. Most people that live in Miami cannot afford to be down there. Most people that are living in South Florida cannot afford to be down there because the amount of money that you're going to make as a result of it is not going to be comparative to what it's going to cost you to be able to live there. That's the caveat, okay?
It's crazy expensive.
Everybody says it isn't expensive. It's expensive.
I live in Hialeah and I pay too much for rent.
And how much is that?
I pay $3,000 a month.
He pays $3,000 a month for rent in Hialeah versus, and y'all also got to take into consideration, right? You also have to take into consideration how much money a lot of these people make, right? And so a lot of people that go and visit Miami is much different than the people that actually live there. If you go into the actual neighborhoods and shit like that, for regular people, it's not what you think it is. A lot of those houses that people are paying an egregious amount for Miami is smaller than the house that I grew up in Detroit. It's smaller than the house that I grew up in Detroit. A lot of those high-rise apartments, listen, y'all don't know shit about paying $10,000 a month for rent. You don't know shit about paying $10,000 a month for rent. You want to go and play with the big boys, you're going to be paying $10,000 to $20,000 a month in rent. That is real talk. It's a lot of people out here fronting. It's a lot of people out here talking about it. It's a lot of people acting like they got it. You don't know shit about paying $10,000 to $20,000 in rent to overlook the water. I'm just being 100% real with you. I'm being 100% real with you. A lot of people can't fathom the possibility of paying $250,000 a year just for living in a specific place. Can't even imagine it. It's real. It's a thing.
Camilo Sequeira lives in one of the 10 worst cities to rent in the U.S.
Now, look at this. Look at this. Look at the list. What are the worst cities to rent based off of how much you make and how much housing costs? How much you make and how much housing costs. It's some surprising places on this. Again, this is not about how expensive it is. It's how much that people make, how much the average income is versus how much the rent is. Detroit, Cleveland, Memphis, Jackson, Akron, Chattanooga, New Orleans, Huntington, Shreveport, Louisiana, Hialeah, Florida. Let me read it again for the people in the back. How much people are making versus how much the rent costs. Detroit, Cleveland, Memphis, Jackson, Akron, Chattanooga, New Orleans, Huntington, Shreveport, Hialeah, Florida. How much people are making versus how much it's going to cost you in rent to live there. A lot of people don't understand how much it costs for you to be able to live in certain areas. Y'all want to know how much I make? I mean, how much I pay for for the places that I dwell in? Here, I'll show you. I'll show you. I have no problem. I have no problem whatsoever showing you. A lot of people have no clue. No clue whatsoever. Damn, what was the login? You know, I live my life transparent. I'm an open book. I have no problems whatsoever. I have no problems whatsoever. I have no problem whatsoever showing you exactly what it is that I pay. I am in Detroit. Well, Metro Detroit, technically. And this is what I pay personally. Okay. Hold on. I went to the wrong one. Went to the wrong one. I am in the city. Did I show that correctly? Hold on. Let me see if I can see that. That's how much I pay. That's how much I pay. I have no problem whatsoever telling you exactly what it is that I pay. I pay, and then it's a couple other fees. I pay a little less than $4,000 a month. I pay a little less than $4,000 a month. That's how much I pay. I have no problem being transparent. No problem being transparent. That's how much I pay. So now when you take into consideration the average person, when you take into consideration the average person, when you take into consideration the average person, I am in Michigan. Well, they say $30 for cable. It's not $30 for cable. It's $30 for cable throughout the entire building, and then I have my own extra fast internet connection. So I basically pay $100 because I pay an extra $70. I pay a little less than $4,000 for the place that I stay in. I have no problem being transparent. I have no problem being transparent. But see, this is why it's important. I need y'all, when y'all following a lot of these people on the internet, right? And when we having these conversations on the internet, I need y'all to start dealing with people that's willing to be transparent of exactly what it is that I'll show my bank accounts. I'll show how much I pay every month. I'll show what's in my brokerage account. I'll show my spending. I'll show my wires. I'll show any of that shit, right? Now, when you take into consideration what it is that they're saying in the story, when you take into consideration what they're saying in the story, when you talk about the average income, the average person in these environments, what are they paying and can they afford to live there? The average person, what are they paying and can they afford to live there?
If you thought rent prices are very high,
Wallet Hub, and one of the 3 in South Florida, ranked as the most unaffordable places in America to rent: Hialeah, Miami, and Fort Lauderdale. According to him, before the pandemic, rent was $1,000 less. We asked him if he would move to any of these 10 cities in the nation.
So these are the 10 cities in the nation. These are the 10 cities in the nation. The best places to rent an apartment or a house in the United States of America, compared to or relative to what people in that specific area are making. The amount of money that people are paying versus how much they make. These are the top places for you to live in. Let me ask y'all a question. Would y'all live in any of these places? Overland Park, Kansas. Know nothing about it. Scottsdale, Arizona. Hot as the devil's nipple. Bismarck, North Dakota. Shit gets real cold there. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Same thing. Chandler, Arizona. Fargo, North Dakota. Plano, Texas. Know nothing about Plano, Texas. Lincoln, Nebraska. Irvine, California. And Nashua, New Hampshire. This is where y'all got to go in order to make money and then live relative to what it costs, the cheapest places for you to live relative to what you make. Let's continue.
Rent is affordable.
100%.
But not everybody is willing to leave.
No matter how expensive you're staying here, look around.
This couple lives in Coconut Grove. How expensive is it for you?
$4,000 a month.
He lives in Coconut Grove, and he said he don't care how much money it costs him. He's not leaving because look around you. It's beautiful. It's the lifestyle. It's plenty of things to do. It does not snow in the wintertime. It is 80 degrees. On New Year's Eve, on Christmas Eve, it is 80 degrees. He said he does not care what it costs. They are going to stay where they at. I actually lived in Coconut Grove for like a month when I stayed there during the pandemic.
Challenge to find homes for tenants.
Sheila Gonzalez has been a realtor for 15 years. She says migration of people from up north since the pandemic changed the dynamics of the industry.
The rental market is high, but inventory is low.
She showed us this house in Palmetto Bay, Miami-Dade County, to illustrate today's reality.
This is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath home with a pool. Right now it's listed for $9,000.
A 4-bathroom, 4-bedroom home with the pool is listed for $9,000 a month. Let me say that one more time. 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom crib with a pool in South Florida is going for $9,000 a month. Let me show it again.
4-bath home with a pool. Right now it's listed for $9,000.
How much was it pre-pandemic?
Pre-pandemic, I think you can rent this for $6,000.
In a period of 3 years, people from up north and other cities made it difficult for locals. So we asked Sheila Gonzalez what are the options for those who cannot come up with a first month and 2 months deposit.
Sometimes I can find leasing offices that they are willing to rent. So clients are not going to be able to come out with 3 months, and they usually have like half a deposit. It depends on their credit as well. So instead of coming up with first, last, and security deposit, they will come up with just first month and 1 month deposit.
What I'm trying to tell y'all and what I'm trying to show y'all is that it's going to get exponentially worse before it gets better within our society. Is going to get exponentially. When I say exponentially, I mean it. It's going to get Y'all think that these prices is going to go down. It's not. Y'all think that the prices is going to go down. It's not. This is the new normal. The new normal is for you to be paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 plus for a house. I'm trying to tell you. Okay, we're going to revisit this conversation in 3 years. We're going to revisit this conversation in 3 years. Why do y'all think that my tenants are so gung-ho about never, ever leaving my properties because I don't raise the rents on them? They cannot get a better deal anywhere, so they're going to be vigilant in taking care of my property and making sure that they stay down for the get down. And eventually y'all gonna be pushed out.
So instead of having to come up, let's say, with $8,000, it would be $4,000 and a little bit more.
Yes, depend on the credit.
If you are willing to rent, going to a leasing office is the way to go, according to this realtor. And by the way, make sure that you find a realtor with experience.
So all I'm trying to tell you is that y'all gonna have to be very, very careful. You're gonna have to be very, very careful because it's gonna get worse before it gets better. And it's important for you to tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Make sure you give a shout out to Tej Hanley. 30%. Shout out to Messy Mathematician. Shout out to Tej Hanley. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. That link is in the description also.